You see one, you know exactly what it is. The Mercedes AMG G63. It's more than a car, right? It's a statement, an icon of wealth. But behind that tough, polished look, there's a whole other story. A story of some serious and honestly pretty uncomfortable contradictions. So let's peel back those layers and see what's really going on.
A box-shaped rocket ship. I mean, that pretty much says it all, doesn't it? It perfectly nails the central conflict of this thing. You've got this insane, almost ridiculous amount of power, all crammed into a shape that looks like it should be anything but fast. And that's where we're going to start.
All right, first things first, let's talk about the myth. Because to really get why people want this thing so badly, you have to look at the numbers. And trust me, they are absolutely mind-bending. On paper, this thing is a total apex predator.
Okay, let's start here. 577 horsepower. Just let that number sink in for a second. That's a monstrous amount of power, and it comes from this hand-built twin-turbo V8. This is the heart of the beast, and it promises one thing, just brutal, non-stop performance. And then you've got the torque. A massive 627 pound-feet. And the crazy part? It's pretty much available instantly. That's what gives the G63 that feeling, you know? Like you're being pulled by a freight train, no matter how fast you're already going.
And what does all that power get you? Well, this. 0 to 60 in just 3.9 seconds. Seriously, think about that. This isn't some sleek sports car. It's a tall, boxy SUV that can actually smoke cars that were built only for speed. It's just wild.
And get this, it does all that while weighing nearly 3 tons. I mean, making something that heavy go that fast, it's just an audacious feat of engineering. It's like a giant middle finger to the laws of physics. But, and this is a big but, that kind of audacity always comes with a price.
And right here, this is where that shiny, perfect image starts to fall apart. See, when you live with a machine that's this extreme, you have to accept a whole bunch of compromises. The kind of stuff nobody really talks about, but that you feel every single time you get behind the wheel.
So what's the deal? Well, it all goes back to its DNA. The G-Wagon wasn't born a luxury SUV. It started life as a military vehicle, a Geländewagen, a vehicle for the terrain. And you know what? No amount of fancy leather or insane horsepower can totally hide those rugged utilitarian roots. And honestly, that DNA, it's the source of its biggest problems.
And you feel that DNA every day on the road. That famous boxy shape? Yeah, on the highway it creates a ton of wind noise. It's loud. And because it's so tall and heavy, trying to take a corner with any kind of speed is, well, let's just say it's not its strong suit. The ride is better than it used to be for sure, but it's still a top-heavy brute. It can only pull about 0.75 Gs of grip, which basically tells you just how little it likes to corner.
Oh, and then there's the fuel economy, or, the lack of it. The official numbers are, well, they're pretty grim. You're looking at 13 miles per gallon in the city, just 14 combined. This thing is thirsty. It just devours fuel, which, let's be honest, is exactly what you'd expect from a vehicle with the aerodynamics of a brick and all that power. And this quote really just sums it up perfectly. Being frugal just isn't in the cards for a fast box-shaped SUV. You get the power, you get the look, but you absolutely do not get efficiency. It's just a core part of what this vehicle is. And the cost doesn't just stop at the pump. Oh no, if you dig into the fine print, you find something pretty surprising. Unlike a lot of other luxury car makers, Mercedes AMG gives you 0 complimentary maintenance. Nothing. So from day one, that first oil change, that's on you. The high cost of keeping this thing running is all on the owner. Okay, so let's recap. It's loud, it's incredibly inefficient, it's clumsy in corners, and it's super expensive to maintain. Logically, it sounds like a terrible choice, right? A really flawed machine. And yet, why is it one of the most desirable vehicles in the world? What's going on here?
Well, part of the answer is hidden underneath, beneath all that luxury trim, because this thing is still a ridiculously capable off-road beast. We're talking 3 locking differentials for maximum grip, low-range gearing for crawling up steep stuff, and tons of ground clearance. This is the real deal, professional-grade hardware that, let's be honest, most owners will never, ever touch.
And that's the core of the paradox, isn't it? Here's a vehicle that was literally built to conquer the toughest trails you can imagine. But where do you actually see them? In the city, at the valet stand. There is this huge gap between what it was made for and what it's actually used for.
Because at the end of the day, the G63 isn't really just a car anymore. It's something more.
It's gone way beyond its original purpose. It's not about what it can do. It's about what it says about you. It's become a cultural icon, a V8-powered billboard that screams, "I've made it."
So, where does that leave us? I mean, how are you supposed to judge a machine that just laughs in the face of logic? The final verdict here isn't about saying it's good or bad, it's about really understanding its two-sided nature.
Let's just put it all out on the table. The illusion? A box-shaped rocket ship. The reality? A very expensive utilitarian cube. The promise is this unbeatable performance, but the reality is living with huge compromises. It's built as the ultimate off-roader, but in reality, it's a status symbol. It's sold as an icon of power, but for a lot of people, it's just a monument to pure excess.
You know, when you really think about it, maybe this is the most honest way to see it. The G63 is absolutely audacious, it's absurd, but the crazy thing is, it has the engineering and the hardware to back up almost all of its wild claims. And all those compromises we talked about, they're not just flaws. They're actually part of what gives it such a unique and, you have to admit, undeniable character.
And that leaves us with one last question for you to think about. In a world that's all about efficiency and responsibility, what does a machine like this unapologetic, V8-powered, military-born icon of excess, what does it really represent? Is it just the last of a dying breed, or is it maybe the perfect symbol of our own complicated and often contradictory desires? Something to chew on.